This conference will now be recorded.
Fine. Let's start the session. Let me go and open one notepad. And now in today's session, we're going to discuss about the new concept called collections. In today's session, we're going to discuss about the new concept called collections. Let me keep here. One of the most important topics in Power Apps. Try to understand. You'll get some questions in the interviews also. What's meant by collections? First, let me keep here some points. What is meant by a collection? Collections are used to, let us say, collections are used to store the group of similar records. Collections are used to store the group of similar records. Or the data temporarily in the form of tables, or in the form of arrays, array. Try to understand, guys. What is the definition I'm keeping here is, what's meant by collection is, collections are used to store the group of similar records. It is used to store the group of similar records or data temporarily in the form of tables or in the form of array. Array is also just like it looks as a tables. So keep in mind what the collections will do means, collections are going to allocate some memory. Collections are going to allocate some memory at the runtime of the app. And in that memory allocation, it is going to store the group of similar records temporarily. So collections are used to store the data, group of records or a data temporarily in the form of a table or in the form of an array. So this collection is going to allocate some memory. If you want to store the data or the records, it need to allocate some memory. So collection will allocate the memory at the runtime of the app, and it is going to store some data, similar kind of data in the collections temporarily in the form of tables, or we'll call it as a array. Either in the form of a table or in the form of arrays is going to store the data. It is what just simply we can say that what is meant by collections. And next one is one more point. Collections are just like variables, guys. Collections are just like the variables. So we discussed already about the variables. What is meant by a variable? Variables are used to store some data or a value temporarily at the runtime of the app. Already we know that what is meant by variable. Let us say if you are declaring one global variable, guys. I'm declaring one global variable. How to declare the global variable? With the help of set keyword. Set global variable, global var. Let's say the variable name I'm keeping here is ename. Employee name I want to store. And what is the value I'm going to store in this variable is, let us say I'm keeping the value as Warner. So here I'm declaring one variable. I'm going to assign one value to that variable. Already we know that what the variables will do. Variables are used to store some data or a value temporarily at the runtime of the app. So here the variable can hold only one record, guys. The variables can hold only one value. But whereas the collections can hold the data in the form of what? Tables or in the form of an array. Both functionalities will be same, but only difference here is a variable can hold only one value. But if you create a collection, collection will allocate some temporary memory. In that memory allocation is going to store the group of similar records in the form of tables or in the form of a array. So this is what the difference between the collections and variables. Both almost collections and variables are same. Only one difference is the variables can hold only one value, but the collection can hold the multiple values in the form of a table or in the form of an array. So collections are just like the normal variables. How you know that variables, in the same way the collections also will work. And one more point, collections can hold collections can hold a single value. Collections can hold a single value, comma, it can hold the multiple values, or it can hold the data in the form of tables. Tables are nothing but array. Tables are nothing but array. So a collection can hold a single value, or the collection can hold the multiple values, or a collection can store the data in the form of a table or an array. But if you discuss, when we're discussing about the variables, as we know that a variable can hold only one single value, guys. But whereas coming to the collections, it can hold the multiple values, or it can hold the array of records. That means it is able to, we are able to store the data in the form of tables. So this is what's meant by collection. You can say that what's meant by collection means collections are used to store the group of similar records or data temporarily in the form of table or in the form of an array. And collections are just like variables. Collections can hold a single value, multiple values, or collections can hold the data in the form of tables or in the form of an array. And also these collections will allocate the memory at the time of runtime of the app. Of if you are not running the app, the collections doesn't allocate any memory, the collections doesn't hold any data. How the variables doesn't hold any data once if you close the app, in the same way collections also doesn't hold any data once if you close the app. When the collections will activate means whenever you are running the app, while using the app only, the collections will activate. The collections will hold some data. How the variables hold the data at the runtime of the app, in the same way the collections also can hold the data at the runtime of the app. When we are using the app, at that time only the collections will allocate the memory, and then it is going to store some group of records in that memory temporarily in the form of tables. This is what's meant by collections. Now, how to create a collection, guys? How to create a collections? Let me keep here how to create the collections. The next point we'll understand here is how to create the collections. Now there are two ways where we can go and create the collections, guys. We can create the collections. Let me keep here. We can create the collections by using two functions. There are two functions where we can make use of to create the functions. What are those two functions? Means PowerFX functions, guys. The first one is by using the collect, and the second function is clear collect. Second one is what? Clear collect. These are the two functions, that is PowerFX functions, we are going to make use of to create the collections. Now what is this collect and what is this clear collect? First try to understand the definitions here, guys, what the collect will do and what the clear collect will do. Anyway, I will show you practically. First let me keep the definitions here. What is meant by collect means it is used to create it is used to create or define or define the collections. It is used to create or define the collections. By using which function we can go and create it means with the help of collect function. Now what is this clear collect means? What is the functionality of this clear collect is? This clear collect function, first it will clear the old data the old data in the collection. First it will clear old data in the collection, and stores the new data in the same collection, guys, and stores the new data in the collections. First one is by using the collect function, which is used to create or define the collection. This clear collect also used to create or define the collections only. But what this clear collect will do means, first this clear collect function, it will clear the old data. If already the collection is there, it will clear that data in that collection, and then it will store the new data in that collections case. You'll understand. First try to understand the definitions. Just to keep in mind for now, what's the definition of collection and what collect, and what's the definition of clear collect. I will show you practically what the definitions I'm keeping here now. So these are the two power effects functions you can make use of to go and create the collections case. Now let me go and open the power apps and let me show you how to create the collections by using this collect function and also by using this clear collect function. Let me go and open the power apps. Let me open the power apps here, make.powerapps.com. Let me go and create one new app. Go and click on the blank app. Create. Let me keep the name of the app as collections. Tablet mode. Create it. Fine. Let me keep some header here. Think 1 second. Let me create some header. Add one text label. Keep the header as collection. Just I'm doing some formatting. Let me change the text to collections. Let me change the background color. Change the background color to this. Change the font color to white. Fine. Now we are going to discuss about the collections case. Now, in order to go and create the collections, let me add one button. Let me add one button. Let me rename it. Let me rename this button to collection. Go to the text property. Let me rename it to collect. I'm going to create a collection with the help of a function called collect case. Now this is just like a button. Whenever I click on this button, on select of this button, I need to go and create one collection case. Collection is nothing but I want to create one temporary memory allocation. In that memory allocation, I need to go and store some data. Now go to the on select property of this button. Select the on select property. Go to the on select property. Now here, first let me show you how to create a collection guys with the help of the collect function. So you can go and use the function called collect. See, there are two functions is there. One is collect, second one is clear collect. First, let me go with the collect function. Now, see here, I said that a collection can hold what values? It can hold a single value, multiple values, or it can store the data in the form of a table or a array. First, let me show you how to store a single value in the collection guys. How to store a single value in the collection. Now see, once after passing the collection, it is asking us to enter the collection name. It is asking us to pass what? Collection name. Now let me pass the name of the collection as COL underscore enum, employee number. This is the collection name. Now keep comma. Next it is asking us to pass the items. What value you want to store into this collection? Now if you want whatever the values you want to store into that collection, first of all you need to open the flower brackets guys. Open the flower brackets and close the flower brackets and close this one. Now within the flower open brackets and flower brackets, now go and pass the value. What is the value I want to assign here is for this collection? Let me pass one value here, employee number equals to employee number equals to 101. Now what is the value I'm going to assign in this collection is this is the value and this is the field name I'm going to assign. Now just go and save it, save the app and go and play the app now. Now see here guys, currently if you go and check here, let me show you. If you go and check here in the collection before go and run it, when I double click on it, currently it is not holding any value guys. We don't find any data. It is stating that in this collection, this is the collection name, collection employee number. In this collection, I don't have any data. Why? Because till now I haven't selected this button. On select of this button, we are going to create one collection. In that collection, this is the value I'm going to store. Let me go and play the app now. Play the app. Click on the collect. When I click on collect, now the collection is going to be created. Now select this button. Go and double click on is the collection name. Now see previously it is not holding any value. On select of the button, I'm going to create one collection. The collection name is collect employee number. In that collection, I'm going to store one value. What's that value the collection is holding? The collection is holding the value as 101. Now see here, this collection is holding one single value guys. Here the collection is holding a single value. How to store a single value in the collection means this is the scenario how you need to store it. And once after creating the collection, where we can see that collections, if you want to see the collections, go to the variables case, go to the variables on the left side, click on it. Here you are able to see the option called collections. Already we discussed about context variables. Context variables is nothing but what? Local variables. We discussed about global variables. Now we are going to discuss about the collections. Now go to the collections, expand it. Now see here able to one collection name. Guess what's the name of that collection? Collection underscore employee number. Now just go and click on these three dots and click on view table. Showing blank value. Let me go and run the app once. Click on collect. Now go to this. Now see it is stating that one row is there. Now go and click on the view table. Now see this is the collection name. In this I am storing only one single value. Where you can see the collections means go to the variables. In the variables you are able to see an option called collections. Under the collections you are able to see whatever the collections you created. Now see here the currently this collection is holding one single value. Now my requirement here is I want to store the multiple values in that collection guys. Now how to store the multiple values in the same collection? Just copy this, or let me go and create the new collection. Let me go and create the new collection. Collect. I'm going to use the function called collect function. And after it is asking us to pass the collection name. Let me pass the collection name as COL underscore EMP number, employee number. Now keep comma. Next, open the flower brackets and close the flower brackets and close the collection. Now within this you can pass the values. Now what values I'm going to pass here is I'm storing currently only one employee number. I'm going to store the multiple employee numbers guys. Let me keep here employee number 101. Now keep comma. This is the first item, first value I'm going to store. Keep comma. Next is asking to pass the one more item guys. The another item within the open brackets and closed brackets, flower brackets. Let me pass here. The second employee number is employee number equals to 102. Now keep comma. Next I need to go and pass one more value. Employee number equals to 103. Like this, within this collection, I'm going to assign how many values now? Multiple employee numbers I'm going to keep. This one will call it as how to storing the multiple values. Multiple values into the collections. Now just go and save the app. Go and play the button. Now click on collect. When I click on collect, now see in this button I'm creating two collections here. First collection name is this one, second collection is this one. Now go to the collections, go to the variables, and now see you are able to see two collections. One is collection employee number, second is collection EMP employee number. Now if you go to the second one, go and click on the view. Now see Under single column, now I am storing the multiple records or multiple values. How to store the multiple values within the collections? And next, see here, we discussed it now, still now, how to store a single value in the collections, how to store the multiple values in the collections. Next, my requirement here is I want to store the group of records case. That means I want to store the data in the form of an array, or we'll call it as a table. Now, how to store the data in the form of an array? Let us say I want to store the employee details in one collection case. Temporarily, I want to store some employee details in one collection. So let me go and create one collection here. Go and use the collect function. Collect. Now it is asking us to pass the collection name. What is the name of collection? Let me pass the collection name as collection underscore emp details is the collection name. Let me keep it as emp details itself. Next, keep comma, open brackets, that means flower brackets, close it. Now it is asking us to pass the records case. Items. What are the items? Now I want to store the employee details like employee number, employee name, and the salary. I want to store it here. First value I want to store here is employee number. Now what is the employee number is 101. This is the first record. Next, keep comma. The second value I need to store here is employee name. The second value is ename. Now what the value I need to store here is I want to keep the employee name as Warner. Next one is I want to store the salary. I want to store the salary of that employee. Now what's the value I'm going to assign here is 12,000. And next one more column I want to add here is commission column. What's the commission the employee is getting? And the commission I'm keeping here is 2000 is the commission. So see here guys, this is an array. This one will call it as an array. Array and tables, both the output will be same guys. Array or the table output both will be same. Now this is here I'm storing only one employee details. I want to store one more employee details into this. Now how to store one more employee details means just keep comma here, just keep comma, and then let me go and open the flower brackets and close it. Now within the open brackets and flower brackets, let me pass the values. Employee number 102, keep comma, employee name, let me pass the employee name as Smith. Next, keep comma, what is the salary? Let me pass the salary as 14,000. Keep comma, what's the commission? The commission I'm passing here is, let me keep it as 1,000 is the commission. 1,000 is the commission he is getting. Now see, this is the way how to store the multiple values or records in the form of an array or in the form of a table. This one will call it as an array guys. This is called as an array. This is one employee details. This is another employee details. Now just save the app. Go and play the app now. Click on the collect button. When I click on this button, it is going to create three collections now. Three collections I created. Click on this collect button. Now go to the collections. Go to the collections. Now see, you are able to see one more collection. What's that collection? Collect EMP details. Go and view data. Click on view table. Now see here, collection EMP details. This is the name of the collection, and these are the columns I'm keeping in that collection, and these are the values I'm keeping. So this is called as an array guess. This one we'll call it as an array, or we'll call it as a table, or we'll call it as what? A table. Like this, within the collections, we are able to store a single value, multiple records, multiple values, or this one is storing the data in the form of a table or in the form of a array or in the form of an array. Now try to understand. Now I'm having some data in the collections. These are the three collections I'm having, and this is the collection, third collection I created. This is the data I'm having in this collection. It is showing that blank. Let me go and play the app now again. Now I'm having one collection EMP details. In this collection, I'm having some data. Now my requirement is I want to show this data in the app. Now how to display that data, guys? How to display the app, or how to display the data in the collection in the apps? So in order to go and display the display the data which is stored in the collections, I'm going to take one gallery. I'm going to take one control called gallery, guys, vertical gallery. You will understand what is meant by galleries in the tomorrow's class. We'll discuss about galleries. For now, try to understand, in order to show the data whatever this collection is holding, whatever this collection is holding, in order to store this, in order to show the collection data, I'm going to add one more control, that is vertical gallery. Let me add one gallery. Let me keep it here. Let me reduce some size. Let me reduce some size. And it is asking us to pass the data source. We need to enter the data source for this gallery. Let me select the data source as collection name. Guess what's the collection? EMP details. Select this one. Now see, it is showing the values in that collection. In the EMP details collection, I'm having the two records, Warner details and Smith details. So it is displaying the employees details. Let me keep some border here. Let me keep some border. Now, whenever if you want to display the data that is stored in the collections, you can go and use the gallery case. By using the galleries, we can show the, or we can display the data that is stored in the collections. And next one is, see here, whatever the collection I am creating, it is static. Whatever the collection I created here, it is static. We are not able to change the values of this collection dynamically. Whenever if you want to change the values, you need to come here, you need to change it manually. Now what's my requirement here is, I want to make this collection as dynamic. Now in order to go and make the collection as dynamic, I'm going to add some controls, guys. I'm going to add some controls. So what controls I'm going to add here is input control. Let me add one input control, text input, text input. So let me change let me remove the default text and keep the hint as employee number. Let me keep the hint as employee number. So just copy the same control, paste it here. Let me keep the second input control. Let me go and keep the hint as ename. That means I want to enter the employee name here. Next, copy and paste the same thing. Copy and paste. Next, I want to enter the salary. Next, I want to enter the salary. Let me keep the hint as salary. Next, copy, paste. Next one is commission. I want to add the commission. I want to enter the commission here. Let me change the hint to commission. Now, if you observe here, guys, I'm having some fields here. I'm having some input fields. Whatever the data I'm entering into these fields, employee number, whatever the employee name, whatever the salary, and whatever the commission I'm going to enter here, these values I need to store in this these values I need to go and store in this collection. These values I need to go and store where? In this collection I want to store. Now how to store the values that we are entering into the input control in this collection? So currently this collection is holding the values. These values are static. I want to make these values as dynamic. In order to go and make the values as dynamic, I'm going to, instead of hard coding the value, in place of hard coding the values, I'm going to replace with the control names. So what I will do here is, let me keep it in the comment. Let me keep it in the comment. Let me keep this one also in the comment. Now I'm going to create one new collection. Collect. The collection name is same name. I'm going to take the same name. I'm keeping this one in comment, guys. It doesn't work. Now keep comma. Open curly braces and close it. Now within this, first one I need to pass here is employee number. Now into this employee number, what values I need to assign here is, whatever the value I'm going to enter into this field, that value I need to go and store into that collection. So just copy this label value, label name, go to the control and keep here .txt, and see here, this input control is holding the value as a text, but employee number is need to hold the value as a number. So I'm going to convert this text values to numerical values. How to store the text values to numerical values? With the help of function called value function. Already we discussed about the function called value. So I'm using the values function here, guys. Values function. Now keep comma, and the next value I need to enter here is, next one is ename. Now whatever the name I'm going to enter into the ename field, that value I need to copy and I want to store into this collection. Let me enter that one here, dot txt, dot txt. Next one is, what is the next one? Salary, right? Salary. Let me keep comma here. Next one is salary. Now, whatever the value I'm going to enter into this field, that value I need to copy. That value I need to store in where? I need to store in this collection into the salary field. So the salary, it is holding the numerical values. So I'm going to use the values function dot txt, dot txt. And next keep comma, one more commission. Now whatever the value I'm going to enter into this commission field, that value I need to store into the collection. So in order to store that, copy the commission input control name and keep it here. It is commission need to hold the values as numerical values. So go and use the values function, which will be used to convert the text values to numerical values, guys. The text values to numerical values. Now see, the same collection here I want to repeat it for multiple times. I'm hard coding it, but now I am going to make it as a dynamic with the help of some input controls. Now just go and run the app, guys. Now whatever the values I'm going to enter here, enter here in these fields, those values are going to be assigning to the collection to these columns: employee number field, employee name field, salary, and then commission fields. Let me go and play the app. Now see, when I click on the collect button, when I click on the collect button, now go and check whether this collection is holding some value or not. Now see, when I double click on it, it is not showing any value. It is showing the column names in the collection, but is not displaying any data. Why it is not displaying any data? Anyone? Because I am not entering any values here in these fields. I am not entering any values. Whatever the values I'm entering into these fields, those values need to go and store in that collection. I'm not entering any values here. Let me pass some values. Employee is equals to 101. Employee name is Warner. Employee salary, let me keep it as 12,000. Employee commission, I'm keeping it as 1,000 rupees is the commission. 1,000 rupees the commission. Now go and click on the correct button. Whenever I click on this button, whatever the data I'm entering into this fields, these values are going to be stored in that collection, guys. Click on collect. Now see, automatically it is displaying the value as what? Warner. Now go to that collection, select the button, go here, double click on it. Now see, it will shows the value. You can go and see here also. Click on it, view data. Now see, this is the data just now I inserted. Employee number, employee name, salary, and then commission. Like this, if you want to insert the data again, let us say I want to insert few more employee details. Go and play the app. Employee is equals to 102. Let me keep the employee name as Smith. Let me keep the employee salary as 20,000. Let me keep the employee salary as 20,000. Let me keep the commission as 2,000. What's the commission he is getting is 2,000 is the commission. Now just click on the collect button, guys. When I click on the collect button, now see, automatically one more record is added to that collection. Automatically one more record is added to that collection. If you go and see the collection, one more record is going to be added. See, this is the new record that is added to the collection. You can see it from here also. Go to the collection, view data. The new record is added to the collection. This is the Smith record. If you want to add one more record to the collection, go and play the app again. Employee ID 103. Employee name, let me keep it as Scott. And employee salary, let me keep it as 22,000. Employee commission, let me keep it as 4,000 is the commission he is getting. Now click on collect. When I click on the collect, it is going to add this row to that collection, guys. It is going to add one more row. Now see, automatically that row is added. What is that row? Scott. Scott is added to that collection. If you go and check the collection, one more new row is added. One more new row is added, that is Scott details. You can go and check from the collection also. Go and click on this three dots, view data. Now see here, this is the new record is added. Like this, with the help of this collect, we are going to create some memory allocation. In that memory allocation, we are going to store some data, similar group of records we are going to store it here. So this is what the collect case, how to create a collection by using the help of function. What's the function we are using? With the help of the function called collect. So we discussed here how to create a collection. We discussed here how to create a collection with the help of collect function. And also we know that how to make the collections as dynamic by using the input controls. And whatever the collection is holding the data, whatever the collection is holding the data, what data I'm storing in the collection, where we can display the data means within the gallery. This is the gallery. Within the galleries, we are able to display the data in the collections. In the galleries, we are able to display the data that is stored in the collection. Whatever the data I'm storing in this collection, this data I'm able to show. Where we can show the data in the galleries. By using the galleries, we are able to show the data what is stored in that collections. And next, now see here, in this gallery, totally how many records is there? 4 records is there. 4 records I'm storing, 4 employee details. But now I don't want to show the all 4. Let's say I want to find out the first 2 top employees. I want to find out top rows. Now in order to go and find out the top rows, direct instead of passing the collection name here, instead of passing the collection names in the item property, let me remove it. I'm going to use the function called first n guess, or let me use the first function first. What is this first function will do means it is going to take the first row from that collection. Now see, what is the first row? It is blank. First row in the collection is blank, nothing will be there. First row in the collection is blank. Or if you want to find out the last row from the collection, there is one function called last. If you want to get the last row from the collection, what's the last row in the collection? Scott employee details. Now see, it is displaying the Scott employee details here. First is used to find out the first row from the collection, last is used to find out the last row from the collection. But now I'm going to use the first n. Let us say I want to find out the first 2 records or first 3 records, first n. So I'm going to use the function called first n. Now it is asking us to pass the data source. What is the source? Collection, and then keep command. Now it is asking us to enter the count. How many rows you want to find out from the top? From the top, I want to find out the 2 rows. Now see, it is displaying the top 2 rows in the gallery. And let us say I want to show the last 2 rows, bottom 2 rows. In order to show the bottom 2 rows, in place of first, let me go and use the function called last n function. From last, how many rows I want to show? 2 rows. What are the last 2 rows? Smith and Scott. Now if you see, it is displaying the Smith record and then Scott record. So from the collection, if you want to get show the complete data, just go and pass the collection name. If you want to find out only first record, go and use the first function. If you want to find out only last record in the collection, go and use the last function. If you want to show first n records, first 3, first 4 records, first 5 records, go and use the first n. If you want to show the last n records, go and use the last n function. So basically we'll try to show the complete data, whatever the data we are storing in the collections, that data will show in the gallery. If you want to filter means, go and use this first last functions. And next one is, whatever the collections I created here, whatever the collections, I'm having 3 collections, right? Now I want to clear the collections case. How to clear the collections data? Now currently this collection is holding some data. This is the data this collection is holding. Now how to clear the data in that collection? In order to go and clear the data in the collections, let me keep here how to clear the data in the collections case. How to clear the data in the collection. Now if you want to clear the data in the collections, there is one function called clear function, I guess. There is one function called clear function which is used to clear the data in the collections. Let me show you how to clear the data in the collection. In order to clear the data, let me go and add one more button. Now see here, whenever I click on this button, let me rename this button name to clear collection. On select of this button, what I will do here is I want to clear the collection, guys. So I'm going to use the clear function, clear, and then it is asking us to pass the collection name. Which collection you want to clear? Let us say I want to clear this collection data, emp details data. Now see, save the app, go and play it. Currently, see here, whatever the collection I'm having emp details in that collection, this is the data I'm having, guys. But now when I click on clear collect, now see that data is not showing here. What's happening in the backend means whatever the data this collection is holding, I'm removing the data from the collection with the help of clear function. Now if you go and see that collection name emp details, if you go and check the data, I don't have any data in this collection. So if you want to create the collection, go and use the function called collect. In order to go and clear the data in that collection, go and use the function called clear function. So how to clear the data in the collections means, with the help of function called clear function, we can remove the data in the collections. We can remove the data in the collections. And next one is, there is one more keyword which is used to create the collection, I guess. What is that? Clear collect. Now what the clear collect will do means, let me show you what the clear collect will do means. This is the collection I'm having, guys. This is the collection I'm having. In this collection, I'm using the keyword called, what's the keyword? Collect. I'm using the keyword called what? Collect. Now try to understand. Instead of using the keyword as collect, I'm going to use the clear collect. I'm going to use the keyword called clear collect. Just remove it. Now try to understand, guys. In place of going with collect, I'm using the clear collect. I said that clear collect function will do what? First, it will clear the data in the collection and stores the new data in the same collection. That means, let us say, currently this collection is holding any data means no, it is not holding any data. Now, let me go and play the app. Employee is equals to 101. Name is equals to Warner. Name equals to Warner. Salary equals to 20,000. And commission he is getting is 2000 is the commission. Now when I click on this collect, now see, if there is any data in that collection, previously I'm not having any data, so it is not removing it. So it is directly going creating one collection. What's the collection name? Collect EMP details is the name of that collection, and then it is going to add one data, one employee's data into that collection case. Now see, I want to add one more employee details to that collection. In order to go and add, I'm changing the employee ID. Employee name is Smith. Employee salary is 22,000. The commission he is getting is 4,000. Now when I click on the collect, what the clear function, what the clear collect function will do means, whatever already in the EMP details collection, there is one record. Now, whenever I go and click on this button, I'm entering the new employee details. What this clear collect function will do means, whatever the data already there in this collection EMP details, it will remove the data and add this new data to that collection, guys. Now see, when I click on the collect again, now it is removing the old data and is adding the new data to that collection. So what the clear function is doing here is clear collect function. If you have already data in the collection, in this collection, it will remove the data. Why? Because the collection, the function I'm using here is clear collect. Clear collect function will do what it will do means, if there is any old data in the collection, it will remove the data and will going to create the new collection with storing the new data. And also if you see, if you go to this collection, in this you are able to see only one employee details, that is Smith. Where is Warner? It is deleted. So whenever if you click on this button, it will remove the old data, and adds the new data to that collection. This is the only difference between the collect and clear collect case. Collect means if it will append the data. Whenever if you go and enter the new employee details here, if you click on the collect button, what this collect function will do means, it's going to add that employee details to the collection. But what the clear collect will do means, it will clears the old data in the collection and it will tries to add and it will stores the new data into that collection. This is the only difference between the collect and clear collect. You can use any one, guys, either collect or clear collect. But in the real time scenarios, most of the cases will try to create the collections by using the clear collect function. By using what? Clear collect function. You can use anyone, but most of the cases will try to create the collections with the function clear collect function. So this is what is meant by a collection, how to create it and how to store the data in the collection and how to display the data in the collections. When I'm displaying the data, you can filter the data, first 10, last 10, first row, last row, or if you want to use the filter function also, you can go and use the filter function here, guys. Previously we are using the filter function, right? Filter the data in the table EMP and whatever the logical test you want, right? Let us say employee number equals to let me keep it as 101. Now see, it is holding 101 employee details. Currently it is not holding any value, so you can go and filter the data in the collections also. So it is up to you. It totally depends whether you want to filter the data in the collection. You can go and filter the data. Already we discussed about filter function, how to filter the data in the collections. Or if you want to display the complete data in the collections, from the collections in the gallery, you can display it. And next my requirement here is how to store the data in the collections in the form of a table. If you see, if you go to the collect, let me keep it in the comment. Let me keep this in the comment to explain the another scenario. Let me keep it in the comment and remove this one from the comment, guys. Remove it from the comment. Now try to understand. Currently, if I go and run the app, when I click on this collect button, it is holding the two records. What are the two records? These are the two records it is holding. These are the two records it is holding. Now, even though it is in the form of a table, but it is not a table structure. How to store the data in the collections in the form of a table? I want to store the data in the form of a table in the collections. In order to go and store the data in the form of a table in the collections, same syntax, nothing will changes, everything will be same. Within this, after the collection name, I'm going to open the curly braces. I'm going to open again the flower bracket. I'm going to keep one name for this table. I'm going to keep a name for this emp colon colon, and then I'm passing the function as table, and then I'm passing the function name as table. Now just go and close this one and close the curly braces. Keep it. Now see here, guys. Now whatever the data I'm entering here, storing in the collection, now it is going to store in the form of a table. And what the name I'm keeping here? EMP. Now just go and play the app. Now click on the collect button. It's throwing an error. Just 1 second. It's not throwing any error. Now go to the collection. This is the collection name. Go it. View the data. Now see, it is showing in the form of a table. Previously directly showing in the form of a table, but now it is telling that the table name is what? This is the collection name. Within that collection, this is the table name. In the table, when I go and click on it, now it will display the data. Now it will display the data. Same syntaxes. If you want to store the data in the form of table means, if you want to store the data in the form of a table means, after the pass the collection name, emp, pass the name of the table, and then pass the function name as a table. So whatever the data I'm entering here, this data I'm going to store it in the form of a table. What is the name of the table means? Emp is the table name, and this is the collection name. In this collection, I'm creating one table. The table name is emp. In this table, this is the data I'm having. If you see, when I click on the double click on the collection, it is stating that the table name emp is a table. Now when I click on this name emp, when I click on here, now it will display the data. So previously also it is showing the data in the tabular format only, but now it is clearly stating that you need to go on. This is the table, this is the collection name. The collection will store the data in the form of table only. Within the collection also, if you want to store a table, how to store it? This is the way. When I click on it, now it will display the data which is stored in that table. That table is stored in the collection. What's the collection name? This is the collection name. So like this, you are able to show, you are able to create the tables within the collections. Guys, how to store the data in the form of a table within the collections. And next one is count the rows in a collection. Guys, let us say now let me remove this. I want to remove this table data. I don't want to make it as complex. This is the collection I'm having. Guys, now I want to know how many rows is there in this collection. I want to display the number of rows in the collection. Now totally currently how many rows is there in this collection means, if you go and see here, this collection will contains the 2 rows. Now I want to find out the number of rows in the collection. In order to go and display the number of rows in the collection, let me take one text label. Keep the text label here. Let me change some font color to 20. Now in this collection, that means in this text label, go to the text property, remove it, and then I'm going to use the function called count rows, guys. I'm going to use one function called count rows. Now it is asking us to pass the data source. What is the data source? Collection. Collection emp details. What is the collection name we created? Emp details is the collection. Now see, in this collection, how many rows is there? Two rows is there. If you want, you can go and check it here. If you want to check how many rows the collection will contains, means in order to go and check the how many rows the collection will contains, you can use this syntax: count rows, and then pass the name of the collection. This is the in this collection I want to identify how many rows is there in this table. In this collection I'm having currently two rows are available. Next one is I want to remove the data from the collection, guys. Now see, currently this collection will contains how many rows? Two rows. Now I want to remove, let us say I want to remove this 101 employee details. Now how to remove 101 employee details from this collection? In order to go and remove the data from the collection, you need to take the help of gallery. In the gallery, there is one icon, guys, or you can go and insert one new icon. Select the gallery, go and insert an icon, icon, trash, that is delete option. Go and keep it somewhere. Go and keep it in somewhere. Just reduce some size. Now see, on select of this button, whenever I click on this button, I want to remove this data. If I click on this button, I need to remove this data. So in order to go and remove the data, just remove it. Go to the on select property of this button or this icon. This is an icon. Go to the on select property. On select, whenever I click on it, what need to happen means I need to remove the data. So I'm going to use the function called remove function. Remove. I want to remove the data from where? From the collection. What's the collection name? Here, guys, it is asking us to pass the collection name. It is asking us to pass what? Collection name. What's the collection? This is the collection. Now from this collection, whatever the item I am selecting, that item I want to remove. This item means in this gallery, whatever the item I am going to select, I want to remove that item. Now go and play the app. Now see, I'm clicking on the Warner selecting, and I'm clicking on this icon, delete icon. When I click on it, now see, automatically it is deleted. If you want, you can go and check in the collection also. If you go and check in the collection, now I'm having only one employee detail, that is Smith. Previously Warner is there, I'm removing the Warner. If you want to remove the Smith also, go and click on this button. You can remove the data from the collection. Now see, the collection will contains how many rows? 0 rows. If you want, go and check in the collection. Now the collection will contains how many rows, means the collections will contains the 0 rows. There is no data in the collection. If you want to remove the data from the collection, with the help of this icon, trash icon, you can add one new icon. Whenever on select of this icon, remove the data from the collection. Which data? Whatever the data I'm going to select on the gallery, that item I want to remove it. So this is a syntax how to remove the data from the collections. And next one is how to add the columns to a collection, guys. Now see, let us say, let me go and click on this collect. Now this collection, I'm creating one collection. The collection will contains two rows. The collection will contains two rows. This is the collection. This collection will contains two rows. Now what's my requirement here is I want to add an extra column to this collection, guys. I want to add an extra column to this collection. What is the column I want to add here is I want to add the column called total salary column, guys. Let's say I want to add one column. That column is total salary column. Now total salary is nothing but I want to add the salary plus commission. Salary is what? 12,000. Commission is what? 2,000. So what's the total salary? 14,000. In the same way, 14 plus 1,000, 15,000 is the total salary. So like this, I need to go and add one new column. That column name I want to keep it here is total salary. In the total salary, I want to add the salary column and then commission column, guys. Now how to add a column to a collection? To this collection, I want to add one extra column, guys. Once the collection is created, how to add it? So in order to go and add the collections, let me go and add one new button. On select of this button, let me rename it to add columns to collection. Add columns to an existing collection. Now on select of this button, I want to add a column to the collection called EMP details. Now see, On select of this button, I'm going to create one more new collection, collect, and then pass the collection name. I'm passing the collection name as collect add columns. Add column is the collection name. And then after items, within the items I'm adding one function called add columns is the function. Now I want to add a column to which I want to add a column. I want to add the column to a collection. To which collection? EMP details. Now to this, what is the column you want to add? I want to add the column called total salary column. I want to add the column called total salary column. Now here guys, clearly it is asking add columns. First pass the data source, next pass the column, and then next it is asking us to pass the expression. What is the expression? I want to pass the expression as salary plus commission. Salary plus commission. Close it. Close this one also. Now see, save the app and go and click on the add columns. Add columns to a collection. When I click on it, now try to understand. It's not added. Let me go and check. Now see here guys, what happening here is whenever on select of this button, it is going to create one new collection. Why? Because clearly I am writing here create a collection. What's the collection name? Collect add columns. Now see, it is going to add one new collection. This is the collection it is adding. In this collection, it is going to create that new column by taking the previous this this collection as a reference. This collection as a reference, it will take this all these columns from this collection case, and then it is going to add one new column as a total salary. If you want to add the new columns to existing columns directly, it is not possible. You need to go and create another collection by taking this old collection as a reference, and then you can add it here. If you want to add a new column to the existing collections, means dynamically it is not possible, but manually you can do. Directly you can go to this collection, you can go and add one extra column here, that is total salary column. Like this you can add manually it is. But if you want to make it as a dynamic, directly we are not able to add the collection to this EMP details. Directly we are not able to add the to this EMP details. You can add it to our add column. Separate one more collection it will create. To that collection, it is going to add one column, that is total salary column, which is going to add the salary plus commission 14,000. Like this, if you want to add the columns, we can add it. Keep in mind, whenever if you add the columns with the help of dynamically with the help of a button, it doesn't add the columns to an existing collection. It is going to create a new collection. To that collection, it is going to add the columns. And next one is how to update the data in the collections case. Let us say I'm having one collection here, right? This is the collection I'm having. In this collection, let me go and play the app, click on the collect. Now if you go and check here, this is one of the collection I'm having is. If you go to this collection, I'm having some data. Now what's my requirement here is I want to update the data in the collection. Now what's my requirement here is if the employee number is equals to 101, then I want to update that employee salary from 12,000 to 20,000. I want to update the data in the collection. Now, how to update the data in the collections? If the employee number is equals to 101, then I want to update the salary from 12,000 to 20,000. Now, in order to go and update the collection, you can go and add one more button, guys. Copy this button, paste it here, and change this button name to, let me keep it as update collection. How to update the collections? Now, in order to go and update the collections, we need to use one function called update function, guys. Update if. We need to go and use one function called update if. Now within the update if function, first it is asking us to pass the collection. Which collection you want to update? I want to update the EMP details. Now in this, what you want to update? Condition. What you want to update, guys? Which I want to update if employee number equals to, if employee number equals to whatever the employee number I am going to enter here, whatever the employee number I am going to enter into this field, that employee salary I want to update, that employee salary. So let me use the values function here, values dot txt and then passing the condition. Next item, which item you want to update? I want to update the salary. Let me keep here salary equals to whatever the salary I'm going to enter into the salary field, that salary I want to keep it here. Value dot txt dot txt. It's throwing an error. In valid document, the name hasn't valid salary. I think keep it in the curly braces. Keep this one also in the curly braces. It's throwing an error. Just 1 second, let me check what's the error. Name is not valid.
But salary is capital S is there, sir, otherwise.
Everything is fine. Let me run the app first. Let me check. Let me remove these two fields. If the employee is equals to 101, then I want to update that employee salary to 20,000. Currently it is 12,000. Let me click on update. Now let me go and check whether it is updated or not. It's not updated. Condition is nothing but which column you want to update. Employee number column. It is employee number only, right? Enum salary. Okay. Keep comma. Next items. A replacement item. Salary. Whatever the text input I'm entering into this field, that value I need to go and replace it here. .txt. This is a text value. I want to convert it into a numerical value. So I'm going to use the values function and then close the curly braces. Just remove it. Everything is fine, but let me check emp details. Next condition, which column I want to update? Employee number column. What I want to update here is I want to pass the value, let us say 101. Now keep comma. Next, which item we need to update? State is keeping the condition equals to 101 comma item salary. Let me keep it as 20,000. Now it is allowing, but why it is not allowing when we keep the text fields? Let me check it once. Save it and click on the update. Now see here guys, currently before going to update it, let me show you the data. 101 employee salary is 12,000. Now what I'm doing here is on select of this button, 101 employee salary I'm updating to 20,000. 20,000. Go and play the app. Now let me go and check the data whether it is updated or not. Yes, it is updated now. If the ID is equals to 101, then I want updating it to 20,000. But now what I'm trying to do here is, instead of going and hard coding the value, I'm trying to replace this text input control. .txt. It is a, let me use the values function because it is going to hold the value. It is a text input, and here whatever the value salary, let me check here. Salary is numerical only. Now in place of hard coding the value, I'm trying to copy this control name, and in place of passing the salary directly, let me keep here .txt. Now it is a text control. Let me change it to value. Let me use the values function. Now it is working. Same syntax we written previously also. It is throwing an error. I'm not sure why it is throwing an error. Now run it. Now see here guys. Let us say save the app. Let's say I want to update 102 employee details. 102 employee salary, I want to update it to 25,000. 102 employee salary is 14,000. I want to update it to 25,000. Update, click on this update collection. Let me go and check whether the record is updated or not. Let me go and check. The record is updated. Yes, the ID is equals to 102, then it is updated. If you want to show it in the gallery also, you can display it in the gallery guys. Go to this, currently it is ename. Let me select the salary here. Now you can see it here. Now let us say I want to update 101 employee salary to 30,000. 101 employee salary to 30,000. Go and click on update collection. Now see automatically the record is updated. So like this, if you want to update the data in the collection, you can go and update the data in the collections with the help of this syntax. The same syntax we written previously, it is throwing an error, but now it is working. Okay, anyway. And next one is how to rename the columns in the collection sketch. So if you want to rename the column names, let's say this is the collection I'm having. Let's say I want to rename the column name from salary to e-salary. I want to rename the column name from salary to e-sal. If you want to rename it, means it is not possible to rename the collection. It is not possible to rename the column names within the same collection. We are able to rename the column names in another collection. Within the same collection, we are not able to rename the columns. What it will do means it is going to take this collection values and go and create another collection. In that collection, it will rename the column name from salary to e-sal. Let me show you how to rename the column names. Now to rename the column names, just copy any one of this, copy this button, paste it here. Let me keep it. Let me change the button name to rename column. rename the columns. Now how to rename the columns, guys? In order to go and rename the columns, just remove it. Now on select of this button, now my requirement here is in this collection there is one column called salary. I want to rename it to esal. Now how to rename? So in order to go and rename, we need to go and create one more collection, guys. We need to go and create one more collection. Within the same collection it is not possible to rename. Collect, and then after I'm passing the collection name as collect rename. Collect rename, and then after items, within the items I'm going to use the function called rename columns. Now it is asking us to pass the source. What is my source? emp details. Emp details is my source. Now keep comma, what is the old column? It is asking us to enter the old column, guys. Let me pass the old column as salary column, and keep comma, what is the new column name? Is salary. This is the syntax. Now just go and save it, play the app. Now when I click on this rename columns, when I click on this rename columns, now try to understand. It is not going to change the column name in the old collection. It will be same here, but instead of this, what it will do means it's going to create one more collection. See here, it is creating one more collection name rename. If you go here, it is changing column name from salary to e-salary. So whatever the collection I'm having here, it will take the collection, this collection as a reference. It will create the same collection here, but changing the collection name. Same columns will be there, but here it is going to change the column names directly within the same collection. If you want to change the columns dynamically name, it is not possible. If you want to change within the same collection means manually you need to change it. This is the collection name salary. Let me go and rename it to sal. Let me go and rename it to sal. Now go and play the app. Now when I go and play the app, now if you go and check here, previously it is salary, now it is sal. So like this, if you want to rename the column names within the collection, you can rename it. And next, one more point we need to discuss here is one of the most important point. Some of the key points you need to understand whenever you are working with the collections, guys. What are the key points you need to understand when we are working with the collections means? Let me list out all those key points here. Important points, guys. What are the key points you need to understand in the collections is, the first point here is we can store the SharePoint list in the collections, guys. We can, or let me keep it like this. Collections can hold, collections can store the SharePoint list items. Collections can store the SharePoint list items. Let us say if you have the SharePoint list, in that list if you have some data, if you want to store that data in one collection, it is possible to store it. Let me show you how to store this. Let me connect to data sources. Let me connect to the SharePoint as a data source. Let me connect SharePoint as a data source. Let me connect to any one of the site, guys. Let me connect to any one. It is asking us to sign in again. Click on sign in. Just 1 second. Let me connect to any one of the SharePoint list. Let me connect to the forms. In this, there is one list called employees. Let me connect to this list. Now, I'm having one list here. I want to store the list data in one collection, guys. Now, how to store the list data in one collection? Go to this collection. Here itself, you can go and create one new collection. You can go and create a new collection. Let me create the collection. Collect. Collection name is collection underscore sp list, SharePoint list. Keep comma. Now pass the list name. What's the list name? Employees is the list name. Close it. Now just go and play the app now. Click on this collect button. Now it is going to add one new collection. What's the collection name? SP list. Now go to this. Now see, I'm having some data here, guys. Whatever the data that is there in the SharePoint list, that data we are able to show it in the collections. See totally how many rows is there in this, means 9 rows in this list, in this collection. If you go to the SharePoint also, if you go to the SharePoint, in the SharePoint, how many rows you are having in the employees list means, how many rows you are having in the employees list means, if you go and check, you have the 9 rows only. If you see, there are 9 rows in this list. Whatever the data you are having in the SharePoint list, that data you are able to display in, or you are able to store it in one collection. How to store the SharePoint list data in one collection means, this is syntax. This is syntax how to store the SharePoint list data in one collections. And next point here is, that's another point you need to understand. The second key point here is, collections can be accessible in all the screens, guys. Collections can be accessible, or let me keep it like collections can be accessed in all the screens. If you want to access the collections in all the screens means, yes, you can go and access it. Whatever the collection you are creating here in this, if you go to the new screen, let me add the new screen. In this screen also, if you want to access the collections, you can access it. How to access? Let me add one gallery. To this gallery, let me add the data source. See, in the second page also, second screen also, you are able to see all the collections. Now this is the collection. So if you want to access the collections in all the screens of the app, yes, you can go and access it. And third point you need to understand here is, collections values can be refreshed when we refresh the app. As we know that when the collections will hold the values means, at the runtime of the app only the collections will hold the data. Once if you refresh the app, the collections doesn't hold any data. Let me keep here that point, guys. Collection values will be refreshed. Collection values will be removed or refreshed. Removed when the app is refreshed. When the app is refreshed. Once the app is refreshed, automatically whatever the collections is there, the data in that collections is going to be refreshed. It is going to be removed. Once if you refresh the app, the data in the collections is going to be removed. And one more point, the fourth point you need to understand here is, how many records, that means how many rows a collection can store means, a collection can store by default only 500 rows, guys. Let me keep that point here. By default, collection can store only 500 records. By default, how many records? Records means rows. How many rows a collection can hold means, a collection can hold only 500 rows by default. So how to increase this size? Let us say I want to store 1000 rows in the collection. How to store it? In order to go and store more number of records in the collection, what you need to do here is, by default the collection will hold only 500 rows, guys. To increase the size, go to the settings. In the settings, you can change the limit here. Data row limit. You can change the limit from 500 to max. You can change it to 2000, guys. Max you can change it to 2000. If you are more than 2000 means, if it is more than 2000, it doesn't allows. Power apps can allows to fetch the data from the data sources only, or the collection will hold the data means maximum 2000 rows only it can support, not more than that. By default it can store 500 rows. We can increase that limit from 500 to 200 in the settings. In the settings you can go and change it. Now close this one. And one more point, by using the collections we can improve the performance, guys. Fifth point here is, with the help of collections we can improve the performance of the app. Let me keep here. By using the collections we can improve the performance of the apps. How we can improve the performance of the apps with the collections means. Now here guys, let me give one scenario. Let us say if you go to the screen one, in screen one, the data in the SharePoint list we are storing in where? In the collection. Where the collection is created? The collection is created within the Power Apps. But this table, this list is created where? In the SharePoint. Let us say I want to get the data from the SharePoint, guys. I want to show the data which is there in the SharePoint in one gallery. So every time going to the data sources, fetching the data from the data sources is somewhat difficult. It will take some time. Every time, whenever you open the app, if you want to go to the data sources, fetching the data from the data sources and displaying the data in the app, it is some process involved. It will take some time to display the data which is stored in the data sources. So instead of going and hitting the data sources every time, what I will do here is whatever the data that is stored in this list, I'm going to store that list data in one collection. So the collection is there in the Power Apps itself. So getting the data from the collections is faster when compared to getting the data from the data sources. Let us say I want to show the data which is stored in this data source, in this employees list, SharePoint list, in three galleries. Let's say there are three galleries is there. In those three galleries, I want to add the data source as employees. So instead of going and hitting the data sources multiple times, it will reduce the performance of your app. Instead of going and hitting the data source for 3 times, go and hit the data source only one time. Bring the data and store the data in one collection. And whatever the data you are storing in that collection data you can display in these three galleries. So getting the data from the collection, it will improve the performance of your app. Why? Because collection is one of the table which is going to be created within the app only, within the Power Apps. But here the list employees, it is a data source. The SharePoint is a data source. From the SharePoint we are getting the data. So going and getting the data from the data sources multiple times, go and get the data from the data sources only once, store the data in one collection, and use the collection in multiple ways to display the data. Like this, with the help of collections, we can improve the performance of the app. By using the collections, we can improve the performance of the apps, guys. That is the reason why collections are most important. Variables are most important in Power Apps. Collections is most important, guys. By using the collections, we can improve the performance of the apps. How we can improve means, this is the one of the scenario how we are going to improve the performance of the apps. So this is what the collections is, and these are the key points you need to understand what the collections will do and what. Fine, let me stop here today. We'll discuss from here in the tomorrow's class. In today's session, try to understand what is meant by collection, how to create the collections, what is collect and what is clear collect. Just to have a brief idea, guys. Just to have a brief idea. I discussed a lot of stuff here, but no need to go and keep everything here. See, adding the columns to a collection is not important. Renaming the columns in the collections is not important. Updating the data is somewhat important. Clearing collections is easy. Clearing the collections is easy. So these topics are not that important. You can ignore it, but try to understand how to create a collection, how to make use of those collections. Fine, let's go with the questions now. If any questions, online people, unmute from it and go ahead.